You're listening to the Sophie Martin Show on NEWHD Media. Today we've got Sparklejets UK, the legendary power pop band making a big return with their first album of original music in over 20 years, Box of Letters. Let's dive right in and welcome them to the show. So what made you decide to release new music after so many years?
Well, I will start. My name is Mike Simmons. I'm one of the vocalists and guitarists. Um, we've never really stopped making music. We just got very busy doing other things with our day jobs. We started a performing arts program for high school here in Long Beach and Huntington Beach rather, and so we spent a lot of our energy doing that. So we had a record just about done early 2000s, and we just had a couple more songs that we needed to finish or add, and we just got busy doing other stuff, and we did an album a few years ago. I don't remember what made us think to reboot that. I know what it is now. Yes. Um, I don't know. It's just I always want to have new songs to work on, and I don't write very much anymore. We don't write as much as we used to when we were younger. So it's I got angry one day and one afternoon thinking in the 60s people used to create albums like you'd get signed to a label and you would just look through the roster of their songwriters and pick out some new songs that you liked and you would make an album. You didn't have to write everything yourself. And then I remembered an idea that we had back in 2000 or 1999 ish about doing an album of songs from other friends of ours that we'd met in the pop scene and putting together a little album of their music for fun because we had done a similar thing where they recorded all of our songs. It's a long story, but we were gonna do a follow up to that, and we never actually did it. And I thought, here's a list of songs we could do right now, guys. You want to do it? And they said sure, so we did. And then after that came out, we realized we better have a follow up for this. So we hunkered down one Christmas break and worked really hard to finish Box of Letters. So
How is Box of Letters different from your earlier albums?
Well, I can chime in on that. You know, when we had our first two albums, In Through and Beyond, and then Bamboo Lounge, that was the focus was Sparkle Jets UK. We were very driven. We rehearsed all the time. We were part of a really, really creative pop scene in Los Angeles. But at that same time, I was student teaching, and I wound up creating this pop music program along with Michael and Susan, and all of the band's creative energy went into that music program. I retired in 2018, and I was kind of an anchor on the band sometimes because Mike is always writing songs. He never stops, no matter what he'll say. He's always either writing new songs or covering other songs. But now that I was free, I basically was able to listen to Mike, and whenever he would get enthusiastic and say, "Hey, we got to finish this album," I wasn't a drag on the project anymore. I said, "Let's do it."
Some of these songs started decades ago. What was it like finishing them now?
well, I think I don't have it sitting in front of me, but all but I think two or three were already either done or very close. So it was just a matter of discovering if we still had the original tapes so that we could finish them and get them all mixed. And I was looking for them in my archives of stuff because everything back by then had been digitized into a kind of computer domain. So there weren't really tapes anymore. Some of them were originally on tape. And I was looking around and I couldn't really find the stuff. And we were prepared to just start from scratch and re-record all the stuff that we had done, that we'd written before. And I said, you know what, give me a couple days to look for the old stuff before I just give up and start over. And I went through a giant box of like 100 hard drives and I got to basically the very last one. And I said, I think this might be it. If it's not on here, I don't have it. And lo and behold, I found the stuff. It was like 4 days of all day and all night going through hard drives looking. and at the very last minute, I found it, and we backed it up, and then we finished those or mixed them, built on a couple, and then we had a couple new things that we threw in. I think there was 2 songs that were pretty much either brand new or we'd started them then and we finished them. There were just demos that we made new lyrics and new parts. And some of them were pretty much fully formed or might have already leaked out back in the day. But it was really fun to work on that, and we got everybody involved and got everyone in here to add their parts to them.
Who are your biggest influences, and how do they shape your sound today?
The Beatles. Everything we do kind of comes from there. Every band that we like probably, descends from that in some form. Beach Boys, obviously. ELO. Those are my 3 big bands. I can't speak for the rest of them, but we all kind of align in that way.
Well, even the new bands that we like, they align with those things, like the Lemon Twigs. That we can't go to a show or listen to a record without just going, look what they're doing there. That we recognize that and the worshiping that's going on of what they do.
How do you work together as songwriters and singers?
We don't. No, I'm kidding. We get together sometimes. I think a lot of times if I write something, it probably generally just happens, and there it is. If Susan's working on something, she'll probably come up with some lyrics and some melody ideas, some chords, and then bring those to us, and we'll kind of flesh them out. A few of them we all got together as a band back in the days, and we would just kind of try out some things and then maybe come back the next week and add some more things to them. We used to record our rehearsals for a while because we rehearsed in a studio, so we would just roll tape the whole time and come up with a few things and then listen to them over the week, come back the next week, and they would start to become songs. Also, Jamie likes to work on stuff. He's more methodical, takes him a little more time, and he'll have like mostly music first, and then maybe Susan will have some words, and so some of those songs were started a very long time ago. But when I was asking Jamie, hey, do you have any songs that are that you've been working on, and he would bring me ones that we started in 2000, but like, oh, they have words now. So that's like the song Box of Letters. Musical parts of that were really had been laying around for a while, but when we got together a couple years ago and synthesized all that stuff into new songs. So that's kind of how that works.
Can you tell us the story behind Eyeball Eater from Outer Space?
That needs to be Susan.
Yeah, you can start that one, Sue.
Ever since I was a little girl, and that really is how the story starts. My dad would bring out this 78 record, and he'd play the record for me, and he'd go, this is a song that you guys should do. This is really the thing that's going to, you should do this at school. You should bring it to the St. Paul's talent show at Halloween time. And they'd bring it up every couple of years. And he brought it up with Sparklejets. He would say, you're missing the boat. This is the one. And it's really a goofy song because where it came from was a bunch of young guys, like 20, 22 years old. And they're all being inspired by like the Purple People Eater and some other silly songs of that time. And they wrote this, and this thing happened where they said, we the Sparklejets were being contacted and saying, let's go ahead and do something for this Halloween compilation that's coming out. Does anybody have anything? And we're going, nah, we don't. Okay, let's think about writing something.
Who I don't remember which one of us actually remembered Eyeball Eater as a
I did.
possibility.
I really
Okay.
did. I said it first.
Because
Yeah.
I was all starting to think, okay, I was getting ideas for Halloween songs, and then she mentioned that, and I even know because when I would go see her dad, he would bring this up, or what he would also do is like every time I went to see him, he would say, "I have a song for you guys to do," and he'd hand us lyrics, and they would be different each time, but they were based on this same melody of the Eyeball Eater song, and it just became kind of like a little inside joke for us, like, oh, he wrote that song again. And eventually, Susan brought me the acetate that she's talking about. It was just only one copy probably exists because I don't think anything ever happened with that song. And it just said "The Legends Eyeball Eater." That's all it said. And in fact, we can't find it. We've been looking all over in our stuff to find it, and we can't. But I did digitize it like 20 years ago and recorded it, so we had a copy. It's real scratchy, and that actually is on the single now. It's like the B-side, so you can hear the original recording, the only one that exists of this band or whatever doing the song back then. So we just basically remade that, and we used the very beginning of it. It's in our song. You can hear their little introduction, and then we just did our thing after that. But it's when we made it, we weren't anticipating anyone hearing the original along with it, so they're pretty similar, but it's been a lot of fun, and I wish he was here, Richard West, to see that we finally did something with this song. I hope he'd be happy. I'm sure he'd be a little critical of it because Richard was like that, but he was a great guy and a really eccentric person.
And this is a good, silly, fun song.
Yeah,
we had fun doing it.
And her dad was in this Legends. It was an R&B band that was a real R&B band that was playing in the late 50s. So it's very authentic as it gets.
Yeah, and so just for fun, we thought, people need to hear this. So, and finally, I don't know, it just kind of happened. So it's great. Hopefully people will dig it. And there's a video that a friend of ours helped us make that goes along with it that's coming out next week as well.
How has performing live changed you? How has performing live changed for you over the years?
Well,
Our equipment's getting lighter.
That's true. I'll try to chime in on that. When Sparklejets were first playing, it was a force of nature. We would play little rooms, like there's a place called Linda's Doll Hut that's about as big as your living room, a small living room where No Doubt played there in the early days. But we would come in with these massive stacks of amplifiers into a size of your living room, and we would play extremely loud and very fast and very tight. And
somebody would usually always bleed.
Yeah.
I mean, not the audience members, somebody in the band, because it was just such, it was usually it was the drummer that would bleed, but because it's fast, it's fun, and somebody can get poked in the eye.
Yeah, I would usually, often chop the front of my finger off we were always a power pop thing, even before we knew what that meant. But if you don't know what that is, it's basically, just imagine a cross between like old 60s music, punk rock, metal. So like loud guitars, but always kind of uplifting, upbeat songs that were positive and lots of harmony. But the sonic texture of it was very much like, AC/DC, but fast. You know what I mean? So we were, and in order to do that style of music, right, it has a lot of parts. It has a lot of starts and stops. It's not like jammy. You don't just kind of do whatever. Everything's very precise and choreographed and arranged. So when we would go up and do it, it was like, it would hurt you. It was like getting kind of punched in the face with music.
The music also was real raw back in the early days. When we first started, it was just a punk rock drummer with Mike's raw guitar playing and this very strange combination of Mike and Susan's voice that just works, because they both grew up on 70s AM radio. So they have the sound like the Partridge Family on vocals, background vocals. But then at the same time, you've got this weird mix of Susan coming from a rhythm and blues guitarist, a father who she learned how to sing soul music, on top of the fact that he also liked country music from Bakersfield, and she learned to do twang. So you put those together with Mike's loving Teenage Fan Club and the Posies and all those kind of bands, and you've got this real raw sound. Versus now, our pedal board, our guitarist has a pedal board that's humongous, very talented musician. We have a keyboardist with us also that's was a former student of ours, and she's awesome. And so we've got a lot more musicality to the band now.
I think he secretly wants to be in Pink Floyd or something.
Marty, yes.
But yeah, I keep trying to simplify because I don't want to have to carry heavy stuff around, and then meanwhile Marty's just he brings a different pedal board to every show with about 20 things on it.
I think one of the greatest things about the band is, though, everybody is a good sport and they're willing to try things. Like I'll say something out loud and it will it will happen. Like Tisha, I will say this song needs a hair dryer solo in it, a blow dryer solo, and then she brings a blow dryer to the next rehearsal. Our drummer Joel, we talk about, wouldn't a moon dance right in front of the drum, right after your drum solo, wouldn't that be great? And at the next show he gets up and he does it.
I think she meant to say break dance.
Oh, no, that moon thing.
Oh, you mean a moonwalk? Yeah.
Moonwalk, yeah. Oh, maybe he did the break dance.
He did both, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a couple shows where he was doing a drum solo, and I would put my guitar down, and I would run around the back and jump in the middle of his drum solo, and he would go off to the front of the stage and do some break dancing. And I kept the beat going. So, yeah, that was wacky. So we're a little more subdued these days.
I don't think so.
I do. I'm definitely more subdued, but the music is still still pretty pumping. And we've been working, and you'll probably ask in a minute, but yes, we are working on new stuff now. So we've got about half or 2/3 of a new album already kind of in our grasp at this moment. So we have some more work to do. It might take a few years to get it all done, and it takes a long time to put an album out now. Even after you finished it, it might be, because we'd finished Box of Letters, I think almost 2 years before it actually was in the stores, because it takes a while for the promotional and mechanical machine of the record label to get everything put together and come out. Like we finished Eyeball Eater, for instance. I don't even know when we did. When did we do that?
It was
last year.
Last summer, wasn't it?
It's been a while. We fast tracked this project at Big Stir Records, but the single has just been announced today. September 20 is when we're doing this, and it's been a long time coming. So, and that was a quickie. So I've already told the label that we finished our next album, even though we really haven't yet. just to get them ready.
Why did you choose the title Box of Letters for the new record?
Well, we were all sitting around at dinner at our house with the whole band, and we were asking, what should be the title track. And after everything was played, I think it was Marty that first said, it's a no-brainer. There's so many hooks in the song. It's nonstop. And so that's kind of how we chose it.
And it kind of ties everything together. The name, the concept, and just ties everything together.
Well, that was choosing it as I think the lead-off single, Jamie. The title.
Yeah, you'd
written the song, but the irony, or maybe it's just a coincidence. When we were first finishing or getting close to done back in 2004 or 2005, I think we would have been on track to finish that originally. One of the ideas that I was floating for a album title was Box Set, which, you know, it would be absurd for a band putting out a third album to already have a box set. But I just thought that's a funny title because it could be a picture of us and we're all, you know, in a giant cardboard box, you know, or 4 boxes and we're all in them, or just a box, a bunch of boxes. That was like just a visual gag. And so I'd even made some artwork for, you know, recently that was just called Box Set. But then you came up with lyrics for this song that we were going to finish, and right there in the lyrics was Box of Letters. So it was like, all right, yeah, so we just kind of made it move that direction. And that's kind of how that happened, fortuitously.
What's it like to revisit and re-release your older albums?
Oh, that was it's fun. It's a lot of work because you've got to dig through your stuff. It's not like we have necessarily some, you know, label archive where we, you know, ring up Capitol Records and go, hey, can you guys dig through your stuff, and they'll find all the art and the masters and all that. It doesn't work that way. It's like I have to find it. And in some cases that's been difficult. I think our first album, In Through and Beyond, we lost the files for that more than once. I've had to recreate that album. I've had to recreate all those a number of times for various reissues, either taking some of the elements from before or since, as far as like artwork. And then as far as the music, we have to go find the best sources we can find of the originals or earlier, so they can get remastered properly, or bonus material added. So it's just kind of digging around through old tapes and hard drives, looking for all the pieces we can find and putting things together. But I think like we've done about 3 issues of each, and we've done vinyl, which means you have to kind of do a new master for vinyl, a new artwork for vinyl, which is obviously larger. But that was really fun. We went and did those a few years back, and it was great to finally actually hold those things in full size, you know, 12 by 12 squares instead of little CD boxes.
And you know, for me, working with the old songs is it's real gratifying for me as a songwriter, because I tend to live with the songs for a long time, and my songs kind of come from either a really cool guitar part or a great bass part where I get in the mood and I kind of construct a song. But Michael and Susan both work off of lyrics a lot, and I find that now we have our 2. Mike has our dachshund's sister, and you're hearing dogs barking because someone delivered some mail. But anyway, getting back to songwriting, Mike is very helpful he pulls it out of me. And now that I know that he really wants lyrics first, because just chord progressions don't do it for him. So when I wrote Box of Letters, I'm always more literal when I write, and it was kind of a true story. But then I've got Susan, who doesn't like literal stories. She likes absurdities and silliness and coming up with stuff. So once I give it to them, then they take it from there and really, you know, do their thing and make it, you know, spectacular.
What's next for the Sparklejets UK?
Lunch. Lunch is next. Whoa, that's a weird sound. Sounds like someone turned on a shower. Like I was mentioning earlier, we're working on new songs now. I've forgotten exactly how many we've got, which is always a good thing to forget. And then when you go looking through your archive, you're like, oh, we've got this many new songs. Fantastic. Because we kind of work with them whenever they arrive in our universe and we have time, we'll knock them out. Because we do everything in-house, you know, like most of us all either had studios before we met or have studios now. Marty has a commercial studio in Santa Ana. Joel has had a couple different recording spaces out in Los Angeles and in the Valley. You know, I always work right here at my house. Jamie had a studio at one point. So, like, we all can do the work, and sometimes we get together. Sometimes we just do little bits and pieces, but we're always working whenever there's something new to make or add. We don't have to save it all up and then go to a studio for like a month and make it. We just make it over time, and then when there's enough songs, it's like, okay, I guess we can make this. We can call this an album now. So we're working on that right now, and then, but there's also a lot of things in process, like this new track is coming out right now. We do a lot of stuff for different compilations and tribute albums when people ask us, and those are coming out in bits and pieces over time. And we work with other artists sometimes, and I do a lot of production, so I'm always working on something.
But it's also about playing live too. We don't get to do it that often because everybody is super busy with the different music work things that we do. But we're trying to focus on having events, like playing with friends of ours and having a theme. Making an event, not just having your friends all come to see a show and then it's over, but having an afternoon or an early evening of something involving art, involving comedy and music.
And Susan, basically, to piggyback on what you were saying, we're as a band, we're kind of very interested in building an artistic community of people just to have fun with music, because with Spotify taking most of the profits out of what musicians used to make, now it's just about the camaraderie and doing what we love to do with people. As an example, the band recently played in our front yard, and we live in a very creative neighborhood that has a lot of our architects and musicians, and they were doing a thing called the art crawl, to where people could visit the artist homes and then they could buy stuff. And we were one of the musicians playing for this and having a great time.
That was the Sparklejets UK here on the Sophie Martin Show on NEWHD Media. Be sure to check out their new album Box of Letters wherever you stream music. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back with more great conversations and music soon.